that feels nice. Welcome back to Eastern Plains of Colorado. Here on McCaffrey Farms, I'm Alan McCaffrey, and today we're going to start field cultivating some of the ground that we're going to be planting to feed for Dad. I got the field cultivator hooked up, I'm filling with fuel, and it feels wonderful in this tractor. Our AC quit. Couldn't figure out why. We had a guy from John Deere come out. It was a fuse. We didn't look too hard at the fuses because we didn't see one saying AC, but it was labeled as something else. And yeah, that whole time could have had nice cold air conditioning with most likely one of these fuses that we keep in the tractor. Oh well, it's working now. It's 100 degrees out. It feels wonderful in this tractor. Awesome. Looks like my fuel is done, so I'm gonna shut that off and get heading down the road. This is ready to go, so we're gonna go kill some small weeds. You're not supposed to be there. You're supposed to be down there. I had a bolt come out on one of them, and it was sitting like this on the sweep, and of course I just started coming back this way. But Dad's gonna go get the red Ford. He's actually got some bolts and nuts for these sweeps. I'm getting pretty far on this field. It's 90 acres, probably about 60 in it. I find it interesting though, this is some very sandy ground. We used to have it in 3 strips of 30 acres each. I think this is the 4th year that we're going to be doing all feed on it. The 1 year, we were getting a decent amount of rain, but it's just so sandy, the wheat wasn't growing, it was blowing out, and the wheat got released. So we just went in, planted it all the feed. That was the 1st year. But what I find interesting is you can still see the splits of these fields. Like this one right here, this is in between the very south one and the middle one. There is still kind of like a blow ridge, because I want to say this middle strip had weed on it. I think it was the one that had weed on it, and there was like feed stubble or something here, and so a bunch of dirt had blown and built a ridge there because it got caught in the stubble. But another thing that is interesting is the way that weeds grow on this ground because of the way they were split up. This one, for the most part, hasn't been too bad. There's a lot of little stuff, but it's nowhere near as green as that. And it's kind of the same way with the very north strip. It's just interesting how the way they were when we put it all into feed, where they were split up into 3 and had 3 different things on them. The way the weeds have grown the last 4 years on it, since we brought it all into one and just been doing feed on it, has been very interesting. And even like the stand of feed and how well it does, it constantly kind of varies in how well the feed does depending on what strip you're on. I don't know why. I mean, it's not like we've been fertilizing them different or anything. It's just interesting that where it was split up into 3 different things, the weeds and the crop grow differently for each of the 3 strips. It's interesting. There's not too much green out here, like I said. It's a bunch of really small stuff, so this should get a really good kill. And in fact, most of it's getting worked under really well, which is good to see. And it shouldn't have taken too much moisture away from the feed crop. I'm going just deep enough to keep all of the sweeps or shovels, whatever you like to call them, going just deep enough to keep all those in the ground. And as you can see, I'm really not bringing up a whole lot of moisture. And really that's what I want, because we want to keep as much moisture in it for the feed crop as we can. That way we don't have to ground. There's been some years we've had to go pretty deep. I doubt quite that deep. That'd be quite a ways in the ground. It is 10 till 8. I am getting this field finished up. I just have like a quarter mile to go, and then I'll fold it up, put the locks in, and I'll head to the next field. I told Dad around 8:30 it'd probably be fine. Give me time to get over there, at least get the line set and everything. So that's what I'm gonna do. Is once I get down here, I don't have to go too far, just a little under a mile that way, and then 2 miles back east, and I'll be right at the corner of the next field. Won't get much of it done because time I get folded up and everything and get over there and get the line set up, I bet Dad will probably be getting ready to head down to come get me, and then we'll start fairly early in the morning and see how much I can get done. And hopefully this won't take me too long when we get hooked up to the drills somewhat soon and get to plant some feed. Go ahead and put this pin in. This pin goes right in here. This pin is for the up and down. Then that way it can only go down so far. And then we have a pin right here on each side that we can put in for the wings. As you can see, they're a little bent. And then we'll go do this other side. See what I mean when I say it's sandy here? Very sandy. It left a really nice finish though. That'll be really nice to drill into. And I think there's still some decent moisture. The top is obviously going to be pretty dry, but there's some moisture there. This is also a spot that got worked like 3 times the way the turn rows worked out, so it should still be some decent moisture. Like I said, this isn't very heavy tillage that we're doing, and on top of that, I'm not really pulling it that deep anyway, so it shouldn't be taking too much of our moisture away. But like I said, it'd be nice if we can get this done and get the feed drilled, and about the time it starts coming up, have a little shower on it. It'd be nice. What will also be nice is here in a little bit we're going to be taking these off. I don't think we're going to end up cultivating and putting fertilizer on the corn. It'll be nice to get these tanks off because it is getting annoying to crawl around them. They're nice to have for planting and cultivating when we do side dress with the cultivator, but when you're just doing farming like this, it'd be much nicer to just have the normal steps and not have to crawl around them. Welcome back. Today is now Tuesday, June 14th. Still field cultivating. I got the second field I moved to last night and started. I got that done. I'm starting this third field We called these two fields that we're on right now Sperlins. There is, I think, a half section here. I'm going straight at a 90-degree angle, and I'm doing that because we farmed these as one. They both needed farmed at the time we did it, so we just did the same angle, went through it, called it good. We're gonna plant wheat on this one this fall, and there's gonna be like 900 acres of it that's gonna be wheat on top of the other wheat that we would normally have. Reason we're doing that one and not this one is, you see how much more green this field is? There's almost a distinct line on this north 160 acres, and that's all cheatgrass. And cheatgrass is awful in wheat. It will choke your wheat out like no other. And so that's why we're doing hay on this one again this year, because that's what we had on it last year. Shouldn't be as much of a problem because the cheatgrass is a lot smaller. Last year when we worked it, we had to disc it because of how big the cheatgrass was, whereas this year it's just barely starting. We got it worked before it got real big, and now it's just barely starting again, so it won't be near as much of a problem. That's why we're doing feed back to back on this field, is we want to do wheat on one of them, and this other one, as you can tell, has little to no cheatgrass on it compared to this field that has almost a solid sheet of cheatgrass right now. So that's the plan on that. So I'm just going through and running the 90-degree angle for where the line is going to be on the field, so in that way, as when I hit my angle, I'll know where to turn. But something like this is where auto steer is really nice. We can just pick the line and make it work a little nicer instead of having to try and guess on a mile-long strip and make it straight. So, benefits, really nice. All right, things are going pretty good. I'm almost done with the long rounds on this field. I think when I go back, that'll be the last full mile I make. Monitor showing 132 of 160 acres. And Dad, I don't know if you can see him. He's right there. He just dropped a sweep off at this field. He got Mackey's done, which was the last of the ground that we chiseled. And that was the last of the stuff that was really weedy. So what he's gonna do now is he's gonna go hook up to the drills and bring them over here or something. I'm not real sure where exactly he's gonna take them, but then in the morning we're gonna try and clean them out when it's a little cooler, or tonight, I don't know, we'll just have to see. So in that way he can get started planting the feed, because then we want to get that done as quick as we can so we can finish up. I think there'd be 4 more fields that are going to be summer, fall, or we're planting to wheat this fall that need to be worked, and so we need to get that done before wheat harvest. And if we keep having this hot, dry, windy weather that we are, which hopefully we get some rain in the next week or two, we have some better chances, not great. I'll believe it when I see it. But we want to get that worked because harvest is going to be coming rather quickly. Today, as I mentioned, is the 14th of June. So we have probably at most 2 weeks before wheat harvest this year. We're gonna need to get this ground done, get the feed planted, so that way we can start getting ready for wheat harvest, because it is gonna be here soon. I'm having a bit of an interesting predicament. It hasn't cost me too much time yet. As you can tell, I have a very strong wind, and what that is causing is I am about to turn around on this mile-long pass. My temperature gets darn near to the yellow. Doesn't quite get into it, but heading west it gets into the yellow. But then when I go east like I am now, it'll drop down to about straight up. And I think it's because This way, it's blowing fresh air into the radiator and it helps it cool down. But going the other way, it's blowing the heat from the engine into the radiator, causing it to heat. But if you can look, it's already went down some after just a few seconds heading east. It's probably not good. I also need to go put the last of the fuel in the pickup. Welcome back. Today is now the 15th of June. It is Wednesday and we're field cultivating. I'm about to get this next field done. I have the first 3 done. I'm on a 70-acre field right now. Monitor shows 40 acres done, so I don't have too much left. Dad is vacuuming out some of the millet out of the drills. We got most of it cleaned out. We're just getting the seed cups cleaned out now. And we got the hay grazer seed down here. And so here in a little bit, once he gets that done, I'm gonna go over, help him load the seed because we're putting in 65 bags, doing like 13 bags for every 10-foot section of drill. So there's a lot of bags that we need to lift. So I'll go over and help him in a little bit, and then he's gonna start doing this and then do the last field down south. Then he'll probably take this home, change the oil in it. We were sitting at 281. Sitting at 281 hours on last oil change. We normally try and do 250 around there. So it's a little more than what we normally would like. We just got to a point, it was around 250 and need to go ahead and get a few things done. And so now we're here. So I think he's gonna try and change the oil tonight or in the morning while I drill these 2 fields here, because the drills are just right up there, and not thinking Dad unfolded them just out of habit. Pulled into a field, he unfolded them, and so instead of folding up to go do the other 2 fields, we're just gonna do these 2 here. One less time we have to fold and unfold them, and then we'll do the other 2 fields right here and then go down. And hopefully drilling won't take too long. We can get back to working some ground. Getting started, I'm doing the first pass. Got the auto steer running about perfectly with that last shank where I field cultivated, which is good. Making a lot of dust, but when we were digging, you barely moved the top layer of dirt out that we worked, and there was plenty of moisture. There's a lot of moisture, and it was nice and cool. It's bringing up a lot of moisture planting into it, which is good. So hopefully with a lot of good, cool ground moisture and some warmer temperatures, we should be able to get this up and get a great stand on it, hopefully. See how it goes. There's going to be about 230 acres between these 2 fields. This is 160. The one I was just finishing up on the cultivating is 70. We're doing, I think that's shooting for 12 pounds an acre, so the amount of seed we put in, there's 65 bags, they're 50-pound bags, so I think we only need like 55. So there should be roughly 2 bags left in each drill, so it should give us a good idea of if we're close, if the drills are putting it out fairly close, without me having to get out and check it towards the end of that field, but also let us know if we need to adjust it any. Dad's gonna finish up that other field and head down to the last one, and he should be able to get that done fairly quick, because I started this field a little after 1 o'clock yesterday and finished at like 7:30 or something, but the field down there is only 120 compared to this 160. You want to know something that's not very ideal to find while drilling a field? That would be part of your seed tube hoses. I'm guessing it's gotta be one of these guys. It's gotta be one of these guys. Unless it is from last year, because it was in the new pass, not the old one. It's one of the ones that drops to the back set of rows, so I will go through and check those. And if not, we have an extra. Well, I looked at all of them. They all have them, so we got an extra now, because it looks perfectly fine. Nothing's broke on it. Use a little bit of a cleanup and should be good to go. All right, I'm a decent ways into this field, and I just want to check this seed real quick. Should be more than fine, but we have one, the very end one on this second section. The seed cup is worn out, and just like that, it's using a little more seed than it should be. This is not too bad because the seed's bigger. It was really noticeable in the millet with the small seed. It would let a lot more seed through, but for the most part, seed's not looking too bad. Little bit more left than in this one, but I don't have too terribly much to go. And I doubt I use much more than that, so for the most part, they all look pretty good. So I'm gonna put some more seed over that one that is about empty, and I'll get going again. I didn't get too much put in it, but there's a decent amount in there for no more than I have. That should be enough, so I will close these. Just out of curiosity, I'm gonna see what the depth is like here. I can see moisture coming up. It's like a darker row right there. And when I started working it this morning, I could tell it looked like there was a decent amount of moisture here, but that's nice. Nice, cool, moist dirt. So that's what we like to see. Especially for as sandy as this is. This is some very sandy ground, especially to the south. I was actually having troubles turning the tractor. It was a little bit of a hill on each side, and it just is so sandy, it just kept trying to push down and made it interesting trying to turn. So see if I can actually find a seed. But hay grazer, or forage sorghum, Sudan grass, whatever you want to call it, you can go a little deeper with it. It can grow up through quite a bit. So drier weather, it probably won't hurt to have it in a little bit farther and more moisture. Right there, that little green speck. And it's hard to judge, but there's moisture all the way down, so it's a good sight. Considering we haven't had rain down here in a little bit, pretty impressed with how much moisture is in it. So I'm gonna get going again, and hopefully I'll be able to get this field done. Not too much more. I'm on the long rows now, and then I won't have much to do for turn rows. So yeah, we'll get after it and see what we can get done. first 230 acres of foraged sorghum hay is drilled. A lot of good moisture. Worked up beautiful with the field cultivator and it planted really nice. Ground's nice and cool with the moisture, and so hopefully some warmer temperatures we can get a good stand and the hay grazer can beat some of the weeds that will be starting to regrow now that we worked it, and have a good stand to feed. I'm bringing the Dodge home. The Redford's still down there. We'll have to shuffle stuff around tomorrow, trying to get everything loaded. Seed looks pretty good. Probably could be a touch heavier, but I think if we move them one more notch, it's going to be too heavy. I'll see what Dad thinks in the morning. I do believe he got the oil changed at least. I'll see when we get home. But hay went good today. Then I'll help Dad get moved around and everything. But yeah, Dad's going to take over the drilling tomorrow. Once again, I'm Alan McCaffrey here on the McCaffrey Farms. If you're enjoying the videos, be sure to like them and subscribe to the channel. I'd really appreciate it. I'd like to get to 500. I appreciate you guys watching, and if you enjoyed, come back for the next one. See you then.